Can you guys hear me? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. In general. Yes, fire. Thank you, Lewis. Guys, let's have a great day today. Let's have a great day. Let me throw up the screen. So, first things first. You guys know we did not take any trades last night. There's not really anything that presented itself. And I'm not going to rush and, shoot on something that's, not necessarily worth taking. But I think tonight we'll do pretty well. So give me 1 second. I'm setting something up. All right. So set everything up here on Legacy. So we're solid there. Who messaged me? All right. So we're going to go over today's bias. All right. First off, I did end up trading Power Hour earlier with Luca. Absolutely caught a banger fucking trade. Absolutely ran. So if you guys were there during Power Hour, you guys already ate with me. Now we can see what we can get into during London. So we'll just start off with NASDAQ since I'm already on NASDAQ. You guys know that I was expecting price to go bullish since Monday, I'd say. And we did exactly that. So the bias is played out from a higher time frame standpoint. What's up, Casper? What's up, SFE? But now what are we going to continue to do? Yes, we can continue to go higher, being that we have some fair value gap sitting up here, or imbalance, whatever you want to call it. We obviously saw this 4-hour rejection here. That, could definitely cause price to sell off. But what am I looking at on the 5-minute standpoint? Okay, 5-minute, we are seeing this bullish expansion where we saw price ended up expanding higher within this 5-minute time frame. We could say we may be looking for buys in the sense of, waiting for that pullback all the way down into here to continue higher. But again, being that we can expect price to pull back within this 5-minute, what am I going to potentially look at? Obviously on the 1-minute where we do enter, I'm going to look for a potential selling opportunity. And we're already kind of seeing that where price has now created this bearish internal structure. We're now coming up into equilibrium, but obviously I'm not going to enter now. It's not London session, and that's fine because if price does end up coming lower and creating a new bearish leg, that's honestly a little bit better for us because it gives us a confirmation and gives us more confidence in the fact that we should see price continuing to sell off within that bearish internal trend into that discounted price of that 5-minute leg. So we're going to see what happens. Obviously, there's still about 12 minutes before London open. So price is either going to make a new low and we play that next pullback down or that next leg down, or price is just going to fly up and we just wait a little bit. But I really do think we will see some sells here for a while. As far as DAX and UK 100, again, you guys know I wasn't looking for anything yesterday. We did end up expanding and absolutely pumping higher, which again, that's totally fine because at this point, what am I still expecting? A potential pullback, but we're just not looking like the best conditions on the lower time frame for a pullback yet. We're not. Okay, and the reason I could say that is because if we look at it from a lower time frame standpoint, we're still within like this bullish structure where we haven't created or made any type of change of character on the lower time frames to confirm that lower time frames are now shifting bearish, and we can align that with the fact that we're overextended on the higher time frames, and we could see a pullback from there on out. So what am I going to wait for? For UK 100, if we see an open where we do see a nice bearish expansion, breaking these lows here, I will wait for a pullback. Oh, sorry, there's like a gnat in my room. I will wait for a pullback, and then I'll look to take price back lower. And the reason I could be confident in, oh my gosh, there's a fucking gnat in here. It's pissing me off. It can fuck off. But again, the reason I can wait for that pullback or that expansion and then wait for that pullback is because when we see that, it's just going to give us confirmation. Oh my gosh, this gnat needs to fuck off and fucking crash out. But going back to what I was saying, once we see that bullish expansion, we see that pullback, we know that we can shoot for a pretty good distance because our equilibrium is still sitting down here. We can expect price to pull back just like it has been doing prior to this. Again, if we go back a little bit, what can we see? Bullish expansion, pullback, bullish expansion, pullback, bullish expansion. So what is most likely going to happen next? A pullback. Obviously, it doesn't have to happen today. Oh my God. I'm actually going to fucking crash out right now. This gnat is actually like, it just won't leave me alone. Like, it should know I'm trying to make a fucking bag. Alright, guys. You can tell I'm probably a little bit tired. I'm a little bit fucking, you know, on edge here. What's UK 100 on Legacy? Serious Joker. So UK 100 and DAX is not on Legacy. You can hardly hear me. Is that just him, guys? Can anyone else hardly hear me? Let me check. Hold on. 1, 2. Hello. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test. All right. Maybe it's better. You may have to reset it. L. Sometimes that can happen. Or yes, set the user volume in Discord up. But going back to you, Sirius, UK 100 and DAX is not offered on Legacy. I do trade my live account when I do trade UK 100 and DAX, but that's why we're also trading NQ as well, so we can trade those Legacy accounts as well. But oh my gosh, guys, this gnat is like, I'm literally gonna turn off camera and hunt this fucking gnat down. If not, it's gonna bother me. But if you guys do want to trade on a live account with me, you can always DM me. I'll send you over the broker that I use, if that's something you're interested in, because a lot of you guys do trade live with me. Some of you guys do just wait and trade the NQ with me, so that's fine. Going to Jer now. So same thing happened with Jer, where we saw bullish expansion. Again, that was pretty likely, because what do we see over here? Bullish expansion, pullback, bullish expansion, pullback, bullish expansion. Okay, so now we can ultimately expect a pullback, but same thing as UK 100 is we're still sitting within this bullish structure. So the reason I wouldn't want to sell from this point on, and I'm not saying price can't sell off, it probably will sell off, but it's just not that high of a probability until we see a break of this low. So at that point, I think I'm just going to kind of wait for DAX to do its thing, play out. If it does give us a potential setup later on, great, we'll possibly shoot. But I think UK 100 has some more potential for seeing a setup tonight. And then obviously NQ, I do think we will see a setup here. We're already playing out beautifully. Kind of sucks that we weren't able to enter up here with this, again, bullish leg, pullback, rejection, and ultimately just expecting price to continue bearish. We would have entered most likely here, 10-point stop, 20-point TP. So obviously we're not at TP yet, but again, like we can ultimately wait for that next bearish internal leg. So I think we'll definitely see some nice movement. But also one thing, guys, I just dropped a YouTube video. I know a lot of you guys have already liked it, but if you guys have not liked it, the reason I want to talk about it is because I do a giveaway every single video, guys. Every single video I do a giveaway for a free 100K legacy account. So all you got to do is like, comment, subscribe, and I pick one of the comments every video. So YouTube chat, that's there for you as well. Again, just go comment. It helps me, but it also helps you because it enters you into a giveaway. Give me 1 second, guys. Serious Joker, you're a G for that. I love that. Can you break down gold? Yeah, I'll break down gold real quick, even though I hate gold with the passion. All right. So for gold, already off the bat, we are pretty overextended. Okay. At least within this 5-minute structure. Let's look from a higher time frame standpoint. Okay. We have been bullish for a while. We have been seeing these micro pullbacks. I know Tokyo lows are sitting down untapped. All right. So seeing that we are pretty overexpanded or overextended within this 5-minute, honestly, just the way I trade, I could expect a potential pullback. My channel name's Niicksfx Low Hickey, but I did link the video. I'll link it again for you. You can just click that, and I'll take you right to it. Because it's only on the latest video is the giveaway. Every single video I do a giveaway. But yeah. So going back to gold, I can see that the 1 minute too is looking like it's shifting structure internally. So seeing that we now are seeing this internal bearish structure, I can ultimately expect potential sells. Unless London Open does something completely different, which granted, at London Open, at any session open, price is going to have its own objective. But we just, again, understanding price action can ultimately look to follow along if price is going to continue to play out with our overall bias. And our bias is sells, right? Just because, again, we're overextended. We see internal structure shifting bearish, and I can expect price to continue lower. So I'm not going to trade it, even though it actually does look fairly good. I just hate gold with a passion. let's get to it. Let's get to it, guys. Not again looking to shoot on anywhere. We're not looking ideal here, okay? Like we looked more ideal. Where was it? On what was this? Last Thursday's trade? Yeah, this was Thursday's trade. I think we got another one over here. I actually broke down this trade in the video that I just linked, guys. But again, this looked more ideal, and the reason this looked more ideal is because, again, what did we see? We saw that bullish structure, but then we saw that change of character, and then we just played that continuation of that new bearish internal structure. So that's basically what we're waiting for over here. And if we see that, we'll shoot. If not, it is what it is, okay? But I'm going to pay attention a little bit to NQ because I like NQ. I think we have a nice little opportunity here. Again, if you guys don't remember, we did not trade NQ yesterday. There was really nothing for us to trade. The day before that, there was a nice setup that played out, but I couldn't take it based off my rules just because we barely missed equilibrium. But this trade would have been fire if it was already London Open and this was happening during then. I would have definitely shot here. Again, we had a nice reaction off equilibrium. We had that bearish internal structure. It looks great. We had good targets, okay? But ultimately, it looks like we are probably going to make a new low, which is perfect because we'll make that new low. And the one thing I'm hoping that we don't see is we make that new low and we just absolutely fucking tank. If that's the case, that's fine because we know we can just play those buys back up. Okay, as long as we see a good, reaction or, the 1 minute change of character back to the upside. But ultimately, we have good targets. I just want price to make a new low, facilitate a pullback, and look to go lower. So now, start a new leg. Obviously, London Open is going to give it some volume, but what London Open could do is just give us a real quick push back up, reaction, and we go for some quick little sells. Again, guys, I go for a simple 10-point stop loss, 20-point TP. Super simple. It's a set stop loss, set TP. What I wait for is, again, that reaction. This is a beautiful example here of what we want to see. Price come up into equilibrium. It can come up higher too, but being that we reacted this way where we kind of hesitated, saw price slow down off of this equilibrium, that gives me the idea that price is going to hold and continue lower. What am I thinking for UK 100, George? Ultimately, I'm expecting sells, George, but I'm not going to sell off right away just because we're still sitting within this bullish structure here. But one thing I am noticing is we're just struggling a lot within here. So even though it'd be more appropriate to wait for this low to be broken, if we broke these lows down here and pulled back, I could see myself playing the re-break of that low just because of the fact that price started to hesitate within this area. And seeing that, it gives me the idea that price is not looking to go higher because it had multiple opportunities to go higher. Could have went higher here and made a new high. Could have went higher here. Could have went higher here, but it didn't. It just kind of slowed down. Looks like sellers are kind of fighting buyers a lot more at this level, especially looking at the 4 hour where we see the 4 hour hesitating as well, right? We had a lot of bullish pressure, a lot of bullish volume, and now we're slowing down. Okay, so that's what's giving me the idea for sells here. Yeah, bro, same view. To be honest, I was thinking the same. Seems like price is exhausted, doesn't it? But it could still fly. Exactly, George. I'll look at the 1 hour gap. How do I set my stop loss and TP on Legacy? I'll show you. So with Legacy, what time is it? Oh, fuck. Hold on. So Legacy, you can go over to, it's right next to the chart type. You press the down arrow, go to trade bar. And then over here, you can put the amount of contracts, your TP, your stop loss, and you can just set it to as many ticks as you want. So again, go to the top here, press the down arrow because it will be on trade LMT, and just go to trade bar. I got to lock in here. Hold on, guys. Oh, it's going to reset my fucking fib. I hate that shit. Fucking hate that shit. We're gonna have some crazy wonky fucking colors, but that's fine. What do you recommend for TP? I know 20 stop loss. Well, actually, I run a 10-point stop loss, and I run a 20-point TP. So it would be 40 ticks for my stop loss and 80 ticks for my TP. I know it looks horrible right now, guys. The settings got all fucked up, but that's fine. Again, what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for that pullback, some type of reaction, either equilibrium or 71%. If we just blow through the equilibrium and close above it, then I'll obviously wait for the 71%, or we could ultimately look to enter in off this order block if that's where we see that reaction from. Okay. You said 80-40. Yeah, so that's ticks, Chance. It's 80 ticks for my TP and 40 ticks for my stop loss. UK dumping. Fuck, I knew it. I knew it. That's fine, guys. That's perfectly fine, because if we close beneath these lows, again, we'll just wait for the retracement here. Because at this point, we're getting the idea that price is now looking to go bearish. Yes, we could have just taken a break of those lows, but ultimately what price could do is price could just then retrace and fucking fly. So I'd rather just wait for that break of structure, wait for the pullback, and then we can wait for that break of that low going back down. Our range is expanded. That's fine. One thing I don't like about this trade actually is like we're still technically within this 1 minute bear bullish structure, and we could just fucking fly here. That's my fucking fear. I do not like this 1 minute candle, guys. It almost makes me like want to hold back on this. Unless we see that. Technically we did facilitate a pullback up. No, we are. Did we? Yes, we did. Fuck, I may be entering, guys. I need to see this candle close first. Oh my god, I didn't mean to do that. No. Alright. If this candle closes, guys, I'm entering at a break of that low. Of that candle low. Very nice pullback. Very nice reaction. And we are just looking for price to continue lower from there on out. Even though that initial bullish candle prior to this looked ugly, delete this. Waiting for a break of that low, guys. I'll shoot here. I'll give it a shot. If we break that low, I'm not in yet, but I'm willing to give it a shot here, guys. We'll see what happens though. Again, this is a little bit of a riskier trade. I'm not risking too much, guys, because ultimately, like I said, price could just continue to react within this bullish structure here. But again, just seeing how price did start reacting prior to the market open, start seeing some shifts, some nice little reactions to the downside, I think we are solid for some sells here. Especially because we have good targets in the sense of we can see or expect price to sell off down into the equilibrium of this 5 minute leg. But I'm still not in, guys. We need to see a break of that low. If price just absolutely rips up here, then I'll remove my limit or my sell order, and then we'll just wait for another opportunity. What's DAX doing? Yeah, ugly. Again, still waiting, guys. Again, even if this first trade is a loss, guys, I'm still willing to take that because we could take another one deeper up, or price could just continue bullish 100%. It may continue bullish too, but that's a risk I'm willing to put on this trade if price does do that, and then we can just ultimately switch bias if our bias was incorrect. But we'll see very soon. Again, not in, guys. I hope you guys did not enter. Just got here. What's up, Nick? What's up, Frankster? If price does end up coming back up and closes above equilibrium, I'll remove my orders and potentially wait for another opportunity back a little bit higher within this range. But ultimately, that's why I wait for that break of that candle. Looks like we are going to see that though, guys. That's fine. Stop fucking with me. My limit order's still there, guys. Check out UK 100. All right, UK 100 is dumping. We got that close beneath that low. That's fine. That's perfect. So now what am I waiting for? I'm going to wait for price to retrace, which obviously it doesn't have to. But if it does, then ultimately I know once we do react back to the downside, I can take this. And I can take this with confidence. Hold on, I got to pay attention here too. Okay. I can take this with confidence because, again, from a higher time frame standpoint, we absolutely ripped. Okay. Just knowing that we expanded, we know that price can pull down as deep into the equilibrium. So we have room to play. We have room to play around. We have room to wait. Unless price just absolutely fucking dumps and makes a massive move, then at that point, okay, like, you know, we can say we missed out on the move, even though there wasn't any entry opportunity on the lower time frames. But it goes to show that our overall higher time frame bias was correct as far as expecting those sells. Price is looking weird here. I like that it's holding, but I wanted to do something. Again, going back to this, I like this though. Okay, as long as we, you know, obviously see that pullback of this new 5-minute leg, that continuation back lower, we'll shoot. Actually, this is our range. There. That's our entire range. It's actually here. It's actually higher, to be honest. Because now that we're breaking this low, it'd actually be better to see price break or hold beneath that low. All right, guys, I'm removing my limits unless we see a rejection here. If we see a close within the 50%, yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to remove my limits. Again, hopefully you guys did not enter. We never got entry. We had potential entry, but we never got a break of those lows. We just held right above them. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if price does end up continuing bullish, which again, like I said, it definitely can, being that we are technically within this bullish structure. The reason I was willing to play is because the confluences that we had in seeing that price did have these fractal shifts right within here, this internal bearish structure, that gave me the idea that price did have room to sell off. So as of right now, we're going to hold back on that trade. Unless we see, I mean, we're still reacting off of it here. No, we're not. We close above it. So unless we see price now come up to 71%, but ultimately at this point, I'd honestly probably wait for price to react off this order block. And if we see a reaction off that order block back lower, I may enter sells, but we may just end up ripping here with a lot of volume back to the upside, which sucks. But again, like, I would not have wanted to enter at these points here. If like we would have traded this 1 minute bullish leg, either way, we didn't have the entry criteria. So I'll look at gold right now. Let me delete some of this. But again, if we break these lows, this will technically be the leg that we're now trading within, because this will, even though this wasn't the best structure here or the best pullback, we did have bullish expansion here within this 15-minute time frame. This was just chop, and then we had that break. But this was the last high that led to that initial, or that break of that low. But ultimately, we need to see a break of that low. We are just ripping, guys. That's fine. Again, we didn't take a trade. We don't necessarily need to. And ultimately, it could tell us that price may be looking to continue bullish, and we look for some type of buys. And that's fine. UK 100 does look good. Yeah, definitely not looking for sells anymore, guys. We are showing clear signs of bullish expansion. Not the most ideal situation, but for buys. But ultimately, if price is going to continue to buy, we're going to continue to buy with it. So I want to see a break of this high first. We've now wicked it, but I ultimately want to see price close above that. And if price closes above that, our bias just changes in the sense of we had the sell opportunity, in the sense we had this bear structure, but since we reacted in the opposite way, price obviously has a different objective. If we do end up closing above these highs, we have a pullback back down, we can just take these buys back up with the general direction that price is looking to move for London session. Gold is about to sell off, I think. Let's peep it. Yeah, it did sell off. I told you guys over here, when we were over here, it was a little bit before market open, that we did look better for sells. So seeing that this new bearish leg was created, I think we had a pullback. We did. This was actually would have been a beautiful entry for us based off my criteria. But ultimately, I don't trade gold. So seeing that we created a new bearish leg, you could wait for a pullback and then look for some type of continuation back lower. All right, we broke above these highs. Let me change this up. It's our new low. It's our new bullish leg. Yeah, gold actually looks fairly well for sells. I can't lie. UK 100 didn't close beneath that low. I don't like that at all. I'm not a fan of that, guys. I'm not saying price can't continue lower. I mean, we still have the 30-minute too. Obviously, we still have 3 minutes within the 15-minute. But as long as we see some time frame close beneath this low, I think we will continue to sell. But obviously, we're not going to just straight shoot it. Yes, we can just straight shoot sells here and just absolutely see price fucking dump. But again, like going back to, make sure, oh fuck, I need to pay attention. All right, we've had a retracement deep enough. Let's see if we see a nice reaction candle. At this point, if price closes at below 50%, I need to see a reaction off 71%, guys. All right, so this candle will tell us here, are we going to see that reaction and see price fly higher? And then obviously based on how this candle closed, I will enter at a rebreak of that candle high, as long as we have a good reaction here. If we just start playing this back and forth game, then it's just not worth it. But ultimately, seeing that we had that bullish expansion, we're having that pullback, I think I will enter buys here. Not yet. Decent reaction. Now I just want to see this candle close like this, and I'll shoot for the break of the high. All right, we keep fucking expanding higher, which isn't a bad thing. It gives us the idea that price is looking bullish, but it kind of... All right, I'm gonna enter buys as long as we rebreak highs. Let's see what happens here. We wicked it, but it fucking didn't enter me in, apparently. What the fuck? I didn't get entered in for some reason. I don't like that. But we should end up rebreaking it. If we don't, then Lord knows. Lord knows what the fuck's going on. But I'm still not in yet, guys. Apparently price didn't want to enter me in. Weird, I don't like that. Why didn't it enter me in? No, don't rip. I'm not ready. Go to break that high. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm in buys now, finally. Let's see what happens, guys. In buys here. $10-point stop loss. Once we hit 101, I am moving to break even. So let's see if we can get to 101, get to our break even point. We should end up, I like this expansion, very nice reaction off 71%, where we saw price come down, facilitate the pullback of that new bullish expansion, had a nice reaction, saw buyers definitely step in here. Let's just hope we continue to see price push and not just react at this high and continue back down like that. But if it happens, it happens. What a ugly fucking reaction. That actually irks my soul. If we do end up coming down into stop loss, I would honestly probably want to wait myself for price to expand higher or finally expand lower to look for another setup. If that is the case, just because at that point, if we start playing this back and forth game within price, I can probably expect it just continue to consolidate for the next 15 to 30 minutes. And I don't want to see that. But we're still in. We'll see what happens. UK 100 on the other hand, looks like we are coming back down. We fucking barely did miss that 15-minute close. That's ugly. So now I want to see the 30-minute close beneath this low. Should probably pay attention. So now I want to see the 30-minute close beneath this low to give me confirmation that price is now creating that new bearish internal structure. And then from there, again, we can just wait for that pullback and we'll look. Honestly, I could shoot aggressive here too, especially if we break that low. So if we do end up breaking this low on the 30-minute, at that point, I could be a little bit aggressive instead of like waiting for that pullback, which obviously I'm still going to wait for the pullback. Can you guys not hear me? Or is it just SFE? 6 out on UK 100, fire. Sells are valid. Price needs a pump here. But going back to what I was saying here, is if we get that break at that low, that gives me a lot of confirmation that price will most likely continue bearish. So what I usually wait for is that pullback and then the re-break of that lows, which definitely we could consider, right? But being if price breaks this low with a nice little strong bearish candle, I may just enter as price rejects or reacts or comes into the 50%, enter up here, and then just shoot for my initial 1 to 2. Ugh, what is price doing, guys? Going to be taking sell soon, fire. Again, like you guys can take sells now in UK 100%. Like we're already seeing a nice little selling pressure. You can take sells. The thing is, if I were to take sells down here, my stops would either have to be here or here. And that's just really big for me for UK 100. I'd rather wait for that confirmation, seeing price break that low, telling me, okay, we definitely are now breaking internal lows where we can expect price to continue deeper within that pullback. And then from there, again, I'll probably shoot, depending on how we close on the 30-minute, as we come into equilibrium. Just be a little bit more aggressive, which is, has been, working fairly well for us. So, this damn gnat. This gnat is like, I'm about to fuck up. My mic's cracking. Is it? My mic was fucking up. Hold on. 1, 2. Hello. I'll get a little bit closer. As long as everyone else hear me. If you guys can't hear me too well, I'm also on YouTube as well. So. Price just needs a push and target 101. We can go risk free. Yeah, target is a 4 hour no bottom wick, fire. Your mic and volume is perfect. All right, guys, perfect. Got a little push. Get me into that 101, you motherfucker. If we would have entered a little bit lower, we would have been about there. But for some reason, price didn't enter me in at that point. Kind of gay. I'm just hoping we don't sweep these highs and just absolutely rip down without getting our full 101. That'd be a little bit. There. Oh my gosh, you're teasing me, bro. You're fucking teasing me. All right, we got 101. Moving to break even, guys. Next target is 1 to 2. Let's see if we can hit that 1 to 2. Break even though, risk-free trade. You guys can definitely go to break even as well. I'm obviously doing it for a reason, because ultimately we could take these highs and just dip back down, but I do expect price to continue with its overall bearish pressure. So hopefully we get that 1 to 2, and if we get hit at break even, it is what it is. You know, I'm not going to close any contracts, guys. I'm keeping my full position open until we hit that 1 to 2. Gold is now pulling back as well. I do think we most likely will see price continue to sell off, especially with this reaction at 71%, to be honest with you. Like if I were to treat this the same way as NAS, I would wait for that reaction or that break of that low down here. Stops probably at the highs and just looking for a nice little 1 to 2 or something like that. But I love UK 100, guys. Again, I'm not in UK 100, guys. I am just waiting for a bit more confirmation as far as it closed beneath the lows, at least on the 30-minute time frame. And, you know, we can, you know, shoot from there. But as long as we get that close, even if I get off stream, guys, as long as we get that close beneath the lows on the 30-minute, I will probably just set limits and go to sleep, truly. Again, I did the same thing over here. Same situation again. Price opened at 12. We waited for that break of that structure. We saw price come back deeper, had that pullback. I set my limits and I fell asleep and just let things, you know, go its way. What's UK on futures again, bro? Dylan, so at least for legacy, it doesn't offer UK 100. We're edging TP, guys. Hopefully we get that final push into our TP for that 1 to 2. I'm on Ninja. I believe UK 100. I know DAX is like, let me check. I have it right here. See. Try just FTSE. What trade am I in? I'm in NASDAQ. I'm in NASDAQ buys here. We're already at break even. We're just waiting for our 1 to 2 to be hit. But already a W day there. Even if we get taken out of break even, but ultimately we're just waiting for that last little push. We edged, just missed our take profit by a couple ticks. But let's see what happens. It sucked to see price now with this new bullish leg. It sucked to see price instantly create some type of pullback, take us out of break even and then go higher. But that could be a possibility, guys. It genuinely could be a possibility. But I didn't take any partials. I'm fine with the break even trade if that is the case. And then if we hit 1 to 2, great. That's all good, chance. Plus 800, let's go. My new RPO is, let's go, serious. Let's go. Got that loss back, you know. Looks like we may be taking out a break even, guys. I didn't close anything, guys. Again, you can fully see that here. We could see a reaction off of this last little area of imbalance, which honestly, that's what I'm hoping for here. As we see that reaction, we just saw, or we're just seeing price come down to fill this imbalance to continue higher. Obviously, that may be the case, but again, just looking at it as well, being that we created this new high here, we now technically created a new bullish structure, at least, you know, within this swing standpoint. So we could see a pullback deeper. We could end up playing this bullish leg too, but ultimately we're gonna get an idea of what's gonna happen within the next 5 minutes for sure. It's either break even or win. At least for me. I know a lot of you guys already made some money, so. This wick on the 5 minutes, gnarly, man. That's a gnarly fucking wick, guys. We could have just taken liquidity again, like from a 5-minute standpoint, guys. Like, you got to remember, we've been bullish, not necessarily for a while, but enough to see that overall, obviously, that we saw that bullish expansion, and we could see a pullback down into these areas here. That's why my initial bias was for sells. But after we saw market open doing something completely different, showing us a totally different objective, we switched bias, which is totally fine, because again, like this, sometimes it's going to happen. You got to remember, price is ultimately going to do what it wants. We just have to play off of it. Nick, do you mainly do Forex? Well, I trade on a Forex broker, but I also trade futures. So I'm done for the night. Fire chance. What's up, Henry? Henry, we got into some buys. We're at break even. We're just waiting for price to hit our full TP, but ultimately, I think we may be taking out a break even here. We just edged our take profit, but it is what it is. Forex makes more than futures? Not necessarily. If you're asking from like my standpoint, if I make more of Forex, yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean like, you know, everybody does. All right, looks like it's going to be a break-even day, guys. Price is looking like it's going to sell off. And again, it could just be facilitating the pullback within this new bullish internal structure. Could be the case. You know, maybe we do get saves with the fact that price could react off the equilibrium before hitting us out at break-even and taking off from there on out. But ultimately, again, like just looking at the 5-minute, we had a very nasty reaction after taking these highs. That could have been the liquidity price needed to then create or have a deeper sell-off. And that's why I go to break even, because again, in these cases, it's not necessarily worth. All right, we're taking out a break even, guys. Break even day sucks, at least for me. I know a lot of you guys did take profits. Sucks for me because again, we were quite literally probably about a point away from TP. Yeah, basically like a point. But again, we'll see what happens. Seeing like this new 1-minute structure, we could play another buy, but I may just take the break even for the day, just because again, it's really good data. And 2, we about near hit TP, but again, I mean, no profits there. As far as UK 100, we're about to close on the 30-minute, so this is nice. As soon as we close beneath these lows on the 30-minute, guys, I'm going to set my limits at this equilibrium, stops above the high, and obviously price can just continue to dump here, but I would like to see a nice little pullback and then continuation back lower. We'll still monitor NASDAQ, see what happens here. But again, hopefully you guys did make some money. Again, I didn't close contracts. So if you guys didn't close contracts because I didn't, that's fine. Like, we always have tomorrow. But if you did close contracts, you know, great. $300 gold. I caught the slight sell. Fire. Did gold end up selling? It sold for a little bit. Kind of hesitating here. We're seeing a reaction off the 50% of this bullish expansion. And that could lead price to now go higher. It truly can. And it looks like that's what's possibly going to happen here. You guys can definitely hop back in at like a rebreak of these highs. I don't think I'm going to. I'd rather just use it as data. Personally, one thing that's kind of throwing me away is ultimately that 5-minute reaction. But that 5-minute reaction isn't a tell-all, right? Yes, it can tell us and give us early signs that price could have just been taking liquidity to then have that deeper sell-off. But ultimately, it may do the complete opposite, right? It may end up reacting off that 5-minute off this 1-minute structure and continuing with its overall bearish trend for the day. And if that does happen, since I'm not entering, I'll just use it as data, truly. Wow, it is ripping. It is ripping. I'm not entering, but I'm just going to mark it up Technically, we could have entered here, but we didn't have the best reaction. We'd already be at break even too, though. But we'll see what happens. Okay, we could close beneath those lows. So guys, I am setting limits here, or I will set limits here very shortly on UK 100. Let's see what happens here. I'm just curious what happens here. 30-minute close nicely below the lows. Yes, sir. Close 950 from 2 positions on GU. Fire. 1K for the day. I think I'm done. Yes, sir. That's all you need. You don't need much, guys. You don't. But again, I'm going to monitor this. Obviously, I'm not going to get off just yet. But like one thing I already am noticing is like from this first initial trade that we took, we saw price react off the 71%. We saw a very nice bullish expansion from there on out. Okay. We saw the same reaction here off the 50% of this bullish leg, of this swing leg within that 1 minute structure. But we didn't see that big of a reaction off of this candle. That doesn't necessarily mean, you know, price isn't promised to go higher. Ultimately, it looks like we are going higher here. But I do like to see these larger reactions. It gives me the idea that price is reacting, it's holding, and we're seeing buyers step back into the market. No, I don't. I don't trade liquid, Jay. But the data that I will be getting is, let's say we did still enter, right? We had the reaction candle. We could have entered at a break of these highs. Stops would have been here. We would be, and we barely would have missed break even, depending on where we exactly entered at. So the data that I'm getting from here is like, what's going to happen? Again, I'm not entering. That's still a 30-minute no wick on. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. Yeah, so even if we would have entered this, guys, we're now sitting back in drawdown, and it could just be creating that 30-minute no wick to continue higher. Our stops would still be open. We barely missed our TP. Again, this is all just forward testing here for future data. Just in seeing how price is continuing to react, right? Obviously, we had that trade before. We saw what happened. We got taken out of break even, just missed our TP. And now we're just getting an idea of what's going to continue to happen, right? So this is all just data, guys. And the reason I want to show you guys this is because you guys should be doing the same thing, right? We took our trade, got out at break even. Yes, we can enter still, being that we haven't made anything, haven't lost anything. But ultimately, sometimes it's not necessarily worth it. We had our trade, we had our setup. We got taken out of break even. It is what it is. I'm ultimately going to go back and see, okay, could I have taken some contracts off? Yes, 100% I could have. But in most cases, once price does hit our 101, especially being that we're trading at a high volume hour, we can ultimately expect price to continue into that 1 and 2. It didn't, right? And a lot of that could be due to the fact that we were coming into these highs. We were just taking more liquidity. But again, that could have just been a one-time occurrence. It could have just been today. And now on this other entry where we could have entered potentially, we are damn near close to our stop loss. So this would ultimately taken us down for the day, which again, that's why I didn't want to enter. Obviously, price could have went higher, but may not have. SFE, I sent it to you if you want to check it out. Where's my limits for UK 100? I think I'm just going to set a limit at equilibrium, to be honest. I'm going to set a limit right here at equilibrium, stops at the highs, and then I'll just be going for my 1 to 2. But again, going back here, going back to NASDAQ, we would have taken that unnecessary loss. And I don't want to say this trade was bad. Again, we had entry. The one thing that I did point out a couple minutes ago is the reaction we saw off of that equilibrium. Yes, this was still a reaction where we saw price come into it, react off of it, have some type of bullish pressure. But the type of reactions I really like to see is the trade that we actually took. We saw price come into 71%. It's not that we need to see a massive bottom wick, but we saw price react off of it and gain a lot of bullish pressure. Again, that tells us a lot in the sense of we see buyers really step in after taking it down into a discounted price. And that's most likely why we saw price continue higher for a decent while, because of the fact that we had that initial sign from buyers or people stepping into the market that price was most likely going to continue to push a little bit higher. But this candle here was a little bit different in the sense of, again, we didn't see that big of a reaction. We kind of saw an indecision candle where we still had a reaction, but wasn't a reaction that was overwhelming in the sense of giving us the idea that price was definitely going to go bullish. Okay. And these are like key things to note, guys. Like, this is data that I'm ultimately going to put into my journal. Okay. Not just the trade that I took. Okay. Because again, like when it comes to the data off that, everything was fine there. Good reaction, good entry. Everything was fine other than the fact that we hit break even. But that's still not a bad thing, guys. It's not, because it just gives us data in the sense of in the future, if this continues to play out where we're not getting those full 1-2s and we're at least getting 1-1, okay, maybe I do start closing contracts in the future. But as of right now, it's not necessarily worth it because a lot of our wins do end up hitting our 1-2s, truly, right? Because again, seeing that reaction, playing within that bullish structure, and trading at a high volume hour or high volume time, we can ultimately expect price to continue within that structure and continue, seeing that good amount of volume. So that would be the data here. And again, you guys already know the data here as far as how price had not that good of a reaction. We did have some type of bullish expansion, but we would have taken a loss here if we would have entered, right? So that's where, again, that data is ultimately going to help me, even though that's not going to go into my live data. It'll go into my back tested data to ultimately still build and give me more information on the system in itself and seeing if there's any rooms for changes, improvements, refinement. But again, that doesn't necessarily happen based off one trade, guys. NQ dumped, yeah. NQ dumped. We got taken out of break even, Dylan. Right before TP was hit. But again, you guys know the bias from earlier. I ultimately expect NQ to sell off, right? Again, that was the initial bias within here. And the reason for that was because we have this previous 5-minute expansion where we know that since price has been bullish for a while on the 5-minute, we could expect that pullback and then that continuation back into the higher prices. But we didn't see that off the rip. We had that bullish expansion. We took the setup, and now price is most likely, after taking liquidity, could now flip and we could see sales back to the downside. So one thing you guys could be looking for is a potential break of these lows. And if price doesn't hit equilibrium and we see a pullback, you can continue to sell back off into that equilibrium of that 5-minute leg. Okay, that's definitely something you can do. But I think as of today, for NQ at least, I'm done. We had our setup. It was beautiful. It was textbook, but we just got taken out of break even. UK 100 on the other hand, I'm waiting for UK 100, guys. I'm excited for UK 100. I can't lie. But again, like I said, I need to see that pullback prior or first. So leave these lines just clutter. It'd be nice to see the hourly close very bearish too, but again, seeing the 30-minute close, even the next 15-minute candle close under that, I still will have confidence when it comes to taking these sales back down. But we're done with NQ for the day, I'd say. At this point, it's just about data. But again, guys, if I'm like always preaching data, I'm not doing it out of spite. I'm not doing it for no reason, guys. I'm doing it to ultimately give you guys insight on what I'm doing daily. Even though I make good money, I'm still getting data, still looking for ways to improve. Again, don't get it confused with I'm going off one trade and going to change my system tomorrow. No, it's just continuously stacking data in case changes need to be made. Truly. But again, especially for NQ, we haven't been trading NQ during London for I think maybe a month at this point. So that's where I really am looking to get as much data as possible. Where UK 100 and DAX, I have over a year's worth of data, consistent data. So again, like even like no matter what it is, even with NQ, the amount of data I need to actually make some type of change probably won't come for until mid-year, if not at the end of the year. And the only way it'll come earlier than the end of the year is if we're consistently taking losses. But we've had a great fucking month this month with UK 100 and DAX. We had a great month last month, but this month has definitely been honestly killer. But if we go into the next month and, you know, April, and we're just not seeing consistent results, we're seeing something change or something happen differently within the markets. And a lot of times it's not my system, but it could be within my management plan, as far as, you know, maybe I'm still moving to break even too early, even though the data that I have backs up moving to break even at 101. Have we already taken a trade? Iconic, yes. We took NQ buys, and we got taken out of break even. I could have taken some partials at 101, but ultimately we just missed our full TP, and we had price totally reverse on us. But again, if since you weren't here earlier, Iconic, our original bias was for sells. We just caught these buys or looked to catch these buys based off the reaction that we saw with London Open, right? London Open clearly wanted to continue higher, and a lot of the, especially just how price is moving now, it could have just been to take more liquidity of these highs, and then that's why we're now seeing price sell off. And the reason I'm expecting that sell off again for anyone who just joined is because, again, we had this bullish expansion. Ultimately, we can expect a pullback before continuation. So that's where I did have that original sell bias. So again, even what I just explained is data, in the sense of our original bias was for sells based off the 5-minute time frame. Yes, we went for those 1-minute buys based off the 1-minute time frame, but again, the 1 minute was still bullish. So that was still definitely probable to take those buys within this 1-minute bullish structure. But now that we're seeing the 5-minute come back down and playing out with our original bias, again, it still goes to show that we knew what price was going to do, even though we had to switch bias momentarily from a 1-minute standpoint. Again, sometimes that's what price, or that's what trading calls for. You got to be able to make those split-second decisions just based off what price is giving you. But now that we're making this 1-minute low, again, you guys, I'm probably not going to trade it, can look for a 1-minute pullback in continuation back lower, because we now have broken that 1-minute low. But again, if price just continues to dump and hits equilibrium before that pullback, I would hesitate on those sells. And the reason I could say you would hesitate is because if price does end up making that full pullback before we see that 1-minute pullback, we can ultimately expect price to react off one of these levels to then go higher. Okay, and that's where sells could ultimately hurt you. And this is why you guys have to understand multi-time frame analysis. It's super important. It's super key. And again, I just dropped a fucking video explaining all that. So again, like, if you're new here, you can go check that out. Even though there's a giveaway in it, and a lot of you guys probably just went in there for the giveaway, actually watch it through, because I explain everything on how I look at the markets. Even though I wasn't explaining NQ, and maybe I'll make a video on NQ, but I trade NQ the same way I would trade UK 100 and DAX. I truly do. I just trade NQ on a lot lower time frame. I'm going for buys on UK 100. No, I'm not necessarily going to go for buys on UK 100. I am going to wait for that pullback to happen. So you definitely could catch some buys if you're trading like a lower time frame within this fractal structure. 100% you can shoot for that, but that's just not my cup of tea when it comes to UK 100 and DAX. So I'd rather just wait for price to pull back, and then I will look for sells as we come into the pullback back lower, because again, from a higher time frame standpoint, the 4 hours overexpanded or overextended, and we can expect that pullback here. Okay, it's a back and forth game. Again, we saw that over here clear as day. We saw bullish expansion, pullback, bullish expansion, pullback, and now we saw this last bullish expansion. So what can we ultimately assume is going to happen? Maybe not next, but very shortly or very soon, a pullback before bullish expansion. But again, price doesn't necessarily have to expand back bullish. We've been bullish for so long, especially on the daily time frame, where we could now see price have a massive pullback of that daily time frame, but ultimately it's an indice, it's an index, right? We can't expect it to continue higher and higher and higher and higher. So I'm not necessarily going to play the daily leg, but it's just definitely information to keep in mind. Let's see what's happening on NQ, guys. Looks like we are just going to continue to sell off into the equilibrium, which is fine. But again, like coming back into tomorrow, guys, we're going to go back over this, right? Obviously, there's nothing to really go over for the trade that we got taken out of break even on, because again, we've already been over that. But one thing that we will go over tomorrow is, what did price end up doing, right? We knew that price had room to sell off into the discounted or into a discounted range of this 5-minute leg. And then we're going to go over, did price come down into discount and then continue to expand higher? Was there setups that we could have potentially taken or waited for? Or did price just absolutely dump lower? Because again, from a higher time frame standpoint, one thing that I am noticing too is this 4-hour reaction candle. We saw price come up, get taken back down, but ultimately I do think we will continue bullish. But again, we'll definitely save that for tomorrow. Can you look at gold been going up? You think it will go up to previous annual highs? Also short term, what do you think? All right, let's peep it. But we did end up flying through. I was anticipating sells, to be honest with you, just based off this internal structure, but let's peep it. This is why I don't trade gold. I hate gold with a passion. Just because of situations like this where price action looked more ideal for sells here. And, you know, based off the way I trade, I do love to just trade the general one reactions and how price is overall looking. Gold piled the ultimate Uno reverse. It did, again. And again, this can happen in any market, but I typically see this happening more in gold, where we will just do whatever the fuck we want to do. And that's where gold is and can be a little bit deadly. But we did just we've already taken out New York highs from today, or technically the last session. Let's look at higher time frames. I think our next point of liquidity would definitely be these highs here, if we were to continue higher. That's me, C's, NY. Yeah. Guys, like, I will go over gold, guys, but if there's one market that I'd say, like, I still see my system and the way I trade and the way I look at markets play out within gold. Because again, like, I can already see it here. What do we see? Bearish expansion, pullback, bearish expansion. Okay, we can see that clear as day. So we know that the general structure, like the way I look at the markets still plays out beautifully here. But from a lower time frame standpoint, like gold, it moves a lot differently. A lot of that could be due to the fact that gold is a commodity. But again, like, if the way you trade gold works, then continue to trade gold. You know, I've made money trading gold. I've also lost money trading gold. But there's a reason I stay away from gold, just because of its movement. All right, we're now selling off into these lower areas. Let's see what's happening here. Sorry, guys, I'm tapping my leg and shit. Excuse me. See if this 1 minute plays out. We had this fractal bearish structure, and it doesn't look that good. It wouldn't be that late. Excuse me, sorry. Oh my god, I'm tired. All right. I think I'm out of here, guys. Again, break even day on NASDAQ. I know a lot of you guys did end up taking some partials, which I'm very glad if you guys made money, but I'm fully transparent. You guys know I did get my entire position taken out of break even. I was ultimately waiting for that 1 and 2 to be tapped, which we barely missed. I'm back after much needed break. Dylan, I'm glad you're back. Glad you're back. We all missed you. But again, that's what happened with NQ. As far as UK 100, guys, I had anticipated sells, but I didn't really have confidence in entering up here. And the reason I didn't have confidence in entering up here was just based off how price looked. We were still within this internal bullish trend within here, but I did tell you guys based off how price was reacting within this range, we obviously were hesitating at these highs multiple times, giving us the idea that price was going to sell off. Yes, we could have just taken a break of this low, and you know, we would have definitely already hit full TPs. But that's just not the way I trade. I'd rather wait for that confirmation of that break of those lows and then ultimately wait for that pullback and that continuation back lower. So as of right now, I am just setting my limits at the equilibrium of this new bearish internal leg, and I will wait for price to enter me in and ultimately look to continue to sell price down within that bullish expansion. We'll be catching more live soon. I have no trading gold for now set. Yeah. Again, there's a love-hate relationship with gold, not just with me, but for a lot of people. And there's a reason for that. But again, beautiful day. I can't complain. You guys made some money. Even if you didn't, guys, we're going to come back in tomorrow and look for the same thing. And ultimately, there's still some room to make money today. Again, still waiting for UK 100 to ultimately have that pullback and then look to continue to sell price off. The only way I won't take a trade here is if price just absolutely dumps into the equilibrium of this 4-hour leg, but I really don't think that will happen, guys. I very much doubt it. That's a massive move to just see off of one leg. But if we do end up seeing that bullish retracement and then back down, I think I will shoot probably with a limit. You guys can definitely wait for a re-break of those lows, meaning you can wait for that pullback to happen, and then you can wait for price to re-break those lows to confirm that bearish structure is definitely still continuing to play out. But in this case, I will play it a little bit more aggressive just because I have a lot of confidence overall in the fact that price has already created that internal bearish structure. And at this point, this pullback should just be a pullback that leads to deeper or lower prices. That being said, guys, you guys are awesome. Don't forget to go like, comment, subscribe on my video. I'll link it one more time. I'll be a little bit annoying because, again, there's a giveaway in there. I will pick one of the comments. All you have to do is comment to enter it. 300K account. Okay. Again, just giving back to you guys. But that being said, I'm out of here. If you guys, again, want to know the broker that I trade on, because, again, I do trade UK 100 and DAX on my personal broker, you guys can always DM me. I'll send it over to you. But other than that, you can use code Nick if you guys want a legacy account for a 15% discount. So I'm out of here. You guys are awesome. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later. Yo, what's up, Kayleen? I'm still on YouTube, so ask away. I'll stick around while you ask. Or are you just saying like, yo, like, what's up? I'm about to end. I didn't know if you had a question or not. No, yeah, no. You might just be saying yo. That's fine. All right. Well, I'm out of here. You can always DM me on Instagram at Niicksfx. Yeah, I'm ending. Yeah, it just ended. Been live for about an hour or so. But again, I did link a YouTube video. Again, there's a giveaway in there. If you want to be entered into a giveaway, all you have to do is comment, and you're entered into that giveaway. So I'm out of here. You guys are awesome. Later. I will ask Tom. What? Oh, tomorrow? Okay, that's fine. You can always DM me on on Instagram at Niicksfx, or you can go into the Legacy Discord and you can go ahead and yeah, we do have instant accounts. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to say that today. If you want to get an instant account, you can DM me. Niicksfx is my Instagram. Or if you go into the Legacy Discord, you can find my name. I'll type in chat. I've been typing in general chat. You'll see my name. It's a colorful name. It's like pink and blue or something like that. Click my name. You can shoot me a DM on Discord as well. And I'll send you over the information for those instant funded accounts if that's something you're interested in. So I'm out of here. But again, there's multiple ways to DM me. Just DM me and I'll shoot you the information later.